We are live, and welcome to March's World Merit Member Conference Call. I am Roger Whirlwind from World Merit USA, and today we will be talking about SDG 6, clean water and sanitation. Now, I don't know if you remember to wash your hands when you left the bathroom today, but this is a very important issue because there's large populations of and communities in the world that doesn't have access to clean water and sanitation. So we have created these conference calls to educate members who might not have the opportunity to come to Merit 360. We want you to know that there is ways for you to take action on all the SDGs. So before we get right into that, we have a few members who are already active in the community and doing great things to change their country around this issue. But we're just going to talk briefly again about World Merit. If you're a new member and you haven't don't know much about World Merit website, we have action opportunities and we have challenges for you to participate in that you will find under the tabs Take Action and Opportunities. And right now, we're going to have the biggest global bake sale and try to set a new world record on that. So right now online, I have our member Tim, who is
Hello.
how's it going, Tim?
Hi, Roger. We're just the bake sale, as you said, is going to be one of the biggest bake sales ever. Uh, yeah, it's 31st, and it's an ideal opportunity to raise money for World Merit, spread awareness about the Sustainable Development Goals, and also raise money for Merit 360. And yeah.
Nah, that's cool. That's March 31st. And how many countries do you expect for us to participate so far?
So far, we have, I think about 20. We have one in each continent.
Great.
And it's growing as we speak, basically.
Do you have like any inside information you could share with us now as far as like how the social media activity that we're going to be doing while that's happening that day?
There's going to be a lot of social media, basically. We're doing all that, and we're going to be launching a few videos to promote it. We're also going to send out a brand pack to everybody who's involved, so that they have the materials they need to promote it and to know about it. And that's what we're going to do. So.
All right, cool. Do you have any recommendations for members as far as how to have a successful bake sale, or is there anything that you want to share with share with members that they should know about how amazing World Merit is, or anything about upcoming events and Merit 360?
Well, it's very open-ended, but I'll talk about in terms of bake sale. We have bake something original, bake something that different what one expects at bake sale, and the more exciting and different it, we wrote it on our channels. But yeah, it's just be energetic, enthusiastic, and that's basically the best way to do a bake sale, in my opinion. As long as you're also highlighting the causes you want to highlight, that matters, basically. Be yourself as well.
Yeah, I really love the campaign promotions. Applaud whoever made those, that cupcake and that piece of cake. Because every time I see it, I want a piece of that cake with the blue icing on it. So I think we should have like a World Merit special, and I guess I think that maybe we could try to like create names, like if members are gonna have a variety of delicacies like cookies, make it a SDG 1 cookie and a SDG 2 cupcake, SDG 3 cake, and just try to create some creative titles around the SDGs connected to the actual food so that, we're introducing them to the SDGs and that they know that they're supporting the cause. And we also want to encourage members to promote the whole pay it forward, asking their customers and their community to not just buy for themselves, but for someone also, to enjoy the delicious products that y'all going to be bringing to the public on March 31st.
I just thought I'd
Um,
give you a little sneak preview. Here is that cake. It's now over a month old.
hold on, let me come out so
Uh,
we can share that with everyone. Hold on.
just take a moment to appreciate the cake. It's been sitting on our graphic designer's desk for at least a month. But it's beautiful. It's just I was going to do a sponsored eat the cake for charity. If anyone pays me money, someone in this office will eat the cake. Entirely up someone else to do. There's a yeah. But if you want to, oh god, it's spilling on my laptop.
Nah,
But
that
yeah,
sound.
that's that.
Hey, let me ask you a question, members.
See,
I saw your screen, but was we in screen share that whole time, or are we on screen share now?
I've only just seen screen share.
Oh, okay. So yes, everyone did see the cupcake. Everyone saw it.
Yeah.
All right, cool. But yeah. Thanks, Tim, for joining us. As you know, we have this every month, and we're gonna discuss all of the new campaigns. And this is the great way for us to start off the spring season. Well, at least it's gonna be spring here in the USA, and I'm gonna be trying to active as the office rep in New York City. Trying to reach out to members to participate in this. This is a great national campaign and also a great opportunity for members to fundraise for Merit 360. We definitely hope that everyone is still sending the applications. Tim, do you know when the cutoff date for applications is?
The cutoff date, I believe, is the second week of March. 1 second, Henry. When's the cutoff date for the Global Bake Sale?
Not the
The
base for
cutoff
Merit
date.
360. Merit 360.
Oh, March. Oh, well, we need about to do it. You need 2.5 months to fundraise. We predict, so it's about 60 days. So 60 days before Merit 360 begins. That's when we have our cutoff dates, if I remember right.
Okay, so y'all be continually accepting applications. Okay, great.
Oh, okay, yeah.
No,
We're
no, well,
getting
that's
it's 60 days after the deposit is paid. So that's how long you get. So that's the deadline after the deposit, basically.
but we'll be continue to open application process is going to be continuously until we fill up at this point. So there's no date for the end to submit an application, correct?
No, not yet, because we want to fill it with as broad a range as possible.
No, that's great to know. That's some of the questions that members have been asking about, and we definitely want people to participate in the fundraiser in this March 31st fundraiser and apply for Merit 360. Last question about Merit 360. Do you know of any? I know that SDG 4 is already full. Is there any other SDGs that are not available at this moment?
There are a few that are like 1 or 2 before we can actually announce that they're full. So we want to people to say we don't want, but yeah, there are 2 are more special, are better at that. But I think in the next couple of weeks there will be that we will have to announce. A lot of those are the SDGs between 1 and 5 in particular. Life Below Water is one that recently we've been with campaigning. So if you wanted to do anything to do with Life Below Water, that would also be one to apply for quickly. But yeah.
No, all right. Well, thanks. Yeah. I think that those are like some of the important questions, and hopefully after members watch this conference call, they will be eager to sign up for SDG 6, clean water and sanitation. So I think we thank you, Tim, for the heads up. Does anybody from headquarters want to say hi to the community?
I'll I'll get Mark to say hi. It's just quite easy. Just say hi. Hi, really. Hi, everybody out there.
Oh,
The World Merit Community. Oh, the World Merit Community. I can't hear. Yeah. Now say hi. Hello.
okay, yeah. Well, we couldn't see. I thought we could have seen, but oh, Rena had to leave. So, okay, well, great. Um,
How is everyone okay?
hey, good afternoon.
Good, yeah, how are you?
Hey, good
Hi.
afternoon, brother. Hey, just introduce yourself to the members real quick.
So who you are? I'm Mark and I'm a developer. So if you have any issues with the site, it's probably my fault.
Nah, I think we're pretty good.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. If you have any ideas how to develop the website, email Mark. Please email. That's a web address more than yeah. Mark at Worldmerit.org. Let me know.
All right, man. Well, good seeing you and good meeting you. And hopefully, yes, will you be at Merit 360?
Oh, it's the best bit about the job. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, great, great. Well, thanks. Well, yes. Great. I'm glad to have you, Tim. And we didn't have to reschedule. But Rena will be back with us in a moment. And we're gonna just get right into SDG 6. So I was gonna play a video, but that's quite all right. Um, as I said, that we have all of these SDGs available, like life below water. Water is so much a large part of our human body as well as the planet, and we need to respect that and cherish that. And so, clean water and sanitation is SDG number 6, and it's just as important, if not more, than and connected to all of the goals that we spoke about. But we'll get back to that in a few moments about how it's related to everyday life, like gender equality and quality education. However, each goal, as you may know, has specific targets. And so we're not just here to just do more charity and help more people. Helping people is important, but there's targets that we need to achieve by 2020, 2025, and 2030. And that's where the SDGs comes in, and that's where you members come in. So we're going to try to get these goals, global goals, out to the world community and understand the urgency, just as the public kinda is learning about the urgency of climate change. We need to let them know the urgency of achieving these goals around clean water and sanitation. And so each goal has a target. Clean water and sanitation has targets such as by 2030, achieve universal and equitable access to safe and affordable drinking water for all. By 2030, achieve access to adequate and equitable sanitation and hygiene for all, and end open defecation. As you might not know, in developing countries, open defecation is a real issue. Also, by 2030, improve water quality by reducing pollution and dumping and releasing hazardous chemicals and minerals into water supplies. By 2030, substantially increase water use efficiency across all sectors, also implementing integrated water resources, protect and restore water-related ecosystems, expand international cooperation around water sanitation and water harvesting and desalination, and support and strengthen the participation of local communities in improving water and sanitation management. So we have these 8 goals, targets to achieve by 2030, as well as, but by 2020, in the next 5 years, we want to protect and restore water-related ecosystems, including mountains, forests, wetlands, rivers, aquifers, and lakes. So I just wanted to just remind members that if it, when you attended Merit 360, or you're supporting a cause or supporting an organization, make sure that they are on target and you know what the target is, because we want to measure our impact as well as we want to achieve these targets, and we're not setting up some ideal of the way the world is. These targets are achievable, and we can with your help. And to help you learn more about this and know that some of the activities and opportunities to take action around clean water and sanitation, we have 3 members today who will be sharing with you who they are and what they do and how you can get involved. So first, I want to introduce Christian from Zimbabwe. You there, Christian?
I think he's off.
Okay,
Yeah,
just a moment. Rena, are you there?
Rena is off also.
Okay. Well, we have Glory. Maybe they're experiencing some technical difficulties, and we have our member Glory from the Netherlands. How are you today, Glory?
I'm very fine. Thank
Is
you.
is Glory your given name or that's your superhero name?
It's my given name.
Okay, great. Well, we're happy to have you part of our community, and hey, I'll allow you to introduce yourself.
Okay, hi everyone. My name is Glory Amarachi Izima and I'm from Nigeria. I'm currently based in the Netherlands. I studied environmental science and my specialization is environmental planning and management. But I did my master's degree in a water institute, and due to this fact, I got more interested in water and sanitation because most of the projects that we used as case studies during our studies were related to water and sanitation. Then apart from that, I also went through the public schools in my country, Nigeria, where water and sanitation facilities are of very low quality, and it's constituting a lot of causing a lot of problems to children, school children. Um, if you visit most public schools, especially in the communities and the semi-urban, the school facilities are in shambles, and children are exposed to a lot of infection, diseases. There have been occurrences of cholera outbreak and diarrhea and all that. So with this in mind and with the knowledge I've gained during my studies, I began to think of how to contribute to water and sanitation for all, especially in my country, Nigeria. So I started building up an initiative to set up an NGO to support the work in Nigeria. First, I had to go through a training in Switzerland, a startup program on water and sanitation, where I was trained on how to develop content, business content for water and sanitation. So my main aim is to, in addition to providing the facilities, but to also inspire young people to begin to think about innovations in water and sanitation, because I believe that youths and young people are the drivers of innovation. Just as it is in the West here, I've come across a lot of innovation um, developed by young people. So, and I think my own country youths can also key into this, because we have a lot of talents, we have a lot of people who have creative ideas, but they're just, because they are not being promoted, because they are not being inspired, they are not being motivated, so they are just lying fallow. So I want to help young people to bring up the creativity in them to to be able to develop um, creative content that can help in solving water and sanitation issues. For instance, because of the Boko Haram issues we had in Nigeria, the security issues, there's been a lot of refugee camps where you have internally displaced people are kept, and these places they lack facilities. So we need people to develop emergency innovation that can help to address sanitation issues in these camps. So, and we can't just leave it for the government alone. So I believe young people can develop content that can be used to solve problems. Also, not only in the area of sanitation, but also in water management, because there are also business opportunities in water. Okay, to come out clear on what I think is that there are opportunities for young people in water and sanitation, not just as advocacy initiatives, but also for them to improve their lives and improve the lives of others. Because I believe that when you improve the life of others, you're also indirectly improving yourself. So when you develop a content, you use that to solve a problem and also solve your own problem, maybe monetary problems. So I see water and sanitation not just an issue in isolation, but also it goes round to other SDGs. For instance, when we talk about health, you can see, like, if you don't have good water and sanitation and hygiene in schools, there will be outbreak of cholera, and that is a health issue. So if we have good water and sanitation in schools, then that solves the problem of health. That also goes round to other parts of the issue of security. Also, there's been issues with transboundary issues of conflicts between two communities or two countries because of water resources availability, scarcity, and all that. So I believe that water and sanitation is an entry point to a lot of the SDGs. But however, in my quest to set up my initiative, I've come across challenges, of financial challenges, because as a student and someone who is just starting up, it has not been easy to raise the money, and it's also not easy to get funding because I'm just starting, and most funding agencies do not give funding to startups, and also even it takes rigorous time and effort to secure funding. So I began to look for opportunities or angles where I can get easy funding for my project. So then I stumbled on an opportunity which is called iCharity Club. iCharity Club, though I'm new to the system, but I have had to find out, to make due diligence about it, and I found out it's a platform where people can donate to each other. You build a network, and then you can donate small amount of money to help other people. So with that network, you also raise, as the community grows, you raise more funds that you can use to support your project. So for now, that is what I am involved in, and maybe we will say more about it later. But for now, this is all I have to say. Thank you.
All right, thank you for sharing. Um, is there, I guess you saying that the goals are connected. Do you see a connection between clean water and sanitation and gender equality?
Oh, very well. I happen to volunteer at an NGO called Women for Water Partnership. It's here in the Netherlands, and they have done a lot of work on gender issues in water. There are gender gaps first in education of women about water and sanitation, and also there is gender gap in the areas of management. There are fewer women in management positions. position in the water sector. But apart from that, the most interesting part of it is that when you look at gender issues in sanitation now, not only the water aspect, you find out that women are more exposed. If you don't have water, if you don't have sanitation facility, women are more exposed to the dangers because one, we are exposed to infection. Secondly, we are also exposed to maybe like issues of rape, because when women go to the bushes in the developing countries to go defecate, they are exposed to the danger of being raped and also being attacked by maybe animals or something. So women are more vulnerable to lack of sanitation facilities. So I see a very large connection between gender equality and water and sanitation.
I agree. And is there any contacts that you want to share with us now that if members want to reach you to learn more about your startup or learn more about iCharity?
Um, for now, I don't have a website for my project yet because it's still a startup and I'm still undergoing the trainings and trying to put up things together. But for the iCharity,
No,
yes,
an email address where they can inquire and learn more about what you're doing.
okay, yes, I have my email address. Um, do I type it or I should just mention it?
Yes, you should just mention it. That would be cool.
Oh, okay, I can be reached through gloryizima@gmail.com. That is
Glory
GLORYIZIMAH at
ZIMAH.
gmail.com. Sorry.
Okay.
Yes,
Glory Izima.
yes. But then I also have for my startup, I have an email address for that. It's called eWash Initiative. eWash, as in as in ecology or environment, and then wash at gmail.com.
Okay, great. Well, thanks you for sharing. And next we have Rena from Zambia. Hi, Rena.
Hi, Roger.
How are you today?
I am feeling a whole lot better today.
Oh, okay, great. Um, yes, please introduce yourself to the community.
Hmm? Yeah. Yeah,
Rena?
sure.
Hello? I'm
Yes,
here.
yes, yes. Yes, please introduce yourself to us.
My name is Rina. I
Hello? Hello? Re
realizes and recognizes the importance of having sanitation facilities such as toilets, which
Okay,
is
wait,
one
wait,
of the,
wait. Pardon me, Rena.
yes.
We had a little technical difficulties. Can you please start over?
Okay. My name is Rina, like I mentioned earlier. I am a media advisor for Water and Sanitation. I am currently working on a media project that supports the government's efforts in making sure that each and every Zambian has access to clean and safe drinking water, and also recognizes the importance of having a sanitation facility. And by that, I mean having a toilet. So this is the project that was started with support from UNICEF, and that's UNICEF is supporting the Zambian government to achieve that. Yeah,
Okay, okay. What city do you live in?
I live in Lusaka.
Lusaka. Okay, how large of a
Yes,
population is that?
I have no idea.
Okay, million people, 2
It's
million?
roughly around it's roughly around 5 million if I'm not mistaken.
All right.
That's
Okay.
because it's Zambia's capital city and it's the biggest city in the country.
All right. Well, New York City has about 8 million people. Um, so yeah, okay, I get an idea of what 5 million people is like. Now, is that like a big city compared to other African cities? Is that a large city? Or it's
No, no, it's not. It's I haven't really taken time to compare how big Lusaka is to other African cities, but it's not a really big city except it's densely populated because a lot of people that come from the outskirts of Zambia would rather live in Lusaka. So it's more populated than most other provinces.
okay, and how far away do you live from Victoria Falls?
How far away do I live from Victoria Falls? About roughly 6 hours drive.
All right. Have you been there lately?
Recently, no, I haven't. I was last there, last year, early last year. Yes.
You said not recently, like that sounds like recently, like um now where is the before we does most of the water in your country come from? Or the water from Lusaka, where does that come from?
Sorry, I didn't get the question.
Where does the drinking water from Lusaka come from?
Well, most people use groundwater, which is they sink boreholes and get water from the groundwater source. But we also have got areas that are serviced by Lusaka Water Storage, which I think are most of the places now. The people that live in farm areas and other areas that are not within the city usually have boreholes sunk within their yard.
Okay, but what about the city water, the water,
The one
the
that's being provided by Lusaka Water and Sanitation.
the toilet water? Where's the toilet water coming from?
Where is it? Toilet water. When you have water that comes into your house, whatever source that you use for your drinking water, that's the source that also takes water to your toilet.
Okay, so that's the groundwater also.
Yes, but then there are also places. There's a lot of places that are being serviced
Reset
by
it.
Lusaka Water and
Just
Storage,
reset
as
it,
I
it's fine.
mentioned earlier.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
You can
just
reset it, it'll be
a
fine.
moment. Yes, thank you, Tim. Yes, I can hear you now. You were saying that the water, all of the water in the city is the groundwater, so it doesn't
No,
come
no, no,
from.
no, 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 no. I didn't say that.
Okay.
Most of the water in the city, in Lusaka City, is provided by Lusaka Water and Storage. So this is a water and storage company that services most of the houses within Lusaka. But then for those that are not being serviced by Lusaka Water, they get their water they get groundwater. Like they sink boreholes and have that connected to their
Where
houses.
do they get the water from? The city, where does the municipal get the water from?
We
Um,
have a lot of fresh water in Zambia, so it's quite easy for us to get drinking water.
well, no, 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 no. You're saying the city water. I'm talking about where does that water come from? Does it come from the river? Does it come from the
Yes, yes,
lake?
yes. It comes from the river. That's what I mean. We have a lot of fresh water sources in Zambia that
Oh,
rivers,
okay.
yes, rivers and a couple of streams. So all the water that we have in Zambia is fresh water. So it's quite easy for us to get this water and have it distributed to the people.
So
If we had all systems in place, that is.
well, that's what I was asking. Does it come from Kafu? How you say that? Kafu River?
Kafue River, yes.
Kaf.
Most of the water that's being provided to Lusaka is from Kafue River.
Okay, well, yes, that's what I was asking. But
Okay.
does it come as far away from the lake? Lake Karuba?
Lake Kariba is a man-made lake, and no, it doesn't. It doesn't. Lake Kariba water, most of it comes from Zambezi River.
Okay, well, why I ask is because I think you're gonna tell us briefly about like parts of how like the rural areas that you service, and I just imagine like if that is something that the water from the lake possibly that how far does that water go out to the country? And okay, so can you just briefly tell us? You say it's a man-made lake. From what country built created that lake, if you know?
Addition to talk about water is strictly sanitation.
Well, I
So
know.
while we have water supply and sanitation, the program that I directly work on is mainly sanitation. So I wouldn't be in a good position to really give concrete and verified information about water supply.
No, no, I know. But I asked because as a man-made, that's a man-made lake, as you mentioned, and I was just wondering how far does that maybe reach into your country? But does it reach into Lusaka, the water that water supply? Because as you had mentioned to me in the
Water
pre
supply from Lake Kariba.
as you mentioned to me in the as you mentioned to me in the pre-interview that you service rural areas of your country. So I don't, I guess you can tell me how far outside of Lusaka that you serve, and as far as sanitation. But I'll just imagine just as toilet water. I was just wondering how much of a challenge. That's basically where I was going to. How much of a challenge is to providing toilet water to your country or to the communities that you serve?
Okay, so the project that that I am currently working on, the one I'm currently supporting, it's a national program and it's reaching all the parts of Zambia. It's actually active in 67 districts, rural districts of Zambia. And specifically, we work in rural districts, so I haven't worked so much in peri-urban and urban areas. I like I had mentioned from most of our conversations, I would most probably be found in a village than in a town when I'm doing my work. So water supply, first of all, to get it to the rural parts of Zambia is it's actually very difficult, which is why most of the toilets that these villagers use are pit latrines. So they're not flush toilets. They don't require water for you to flush. They're just pit latrines that you just go and use. The biggest challenge that we have now is providing water for these people to wash their hands when they finish using the toilets.
Okay, okay. Nah, yes, but I can imagine that is a challenge, and we will talk about that some more briefly. Um, I guess Christian from Zimbabwe was scheduled to join us, and he was on the line with us briefly, but he probably is having some technical difficulties. Maybe he'll come back. I guess I'll just ask you both a few questions also. Glory, can you talk about the water situation more, as I was saying, as far as in Nigeria? How challenging is it to get toilet water to the more rural areas of Nigeria?
Yeah, I wouldn't say I have worked more. Well, I have done a lot of work in water sanitation in the rural areas, but I would only share about my experiences. Most rural areas in Nigeria do not have access to um, clean water from the government agencies. Most rural areas are serviced by either the river or like Rina mentioned, boreholes. So you have a lot of private homes, um, digging their own boreholes and generating their own water for their use. But for those who can afford to have boreholes for themselves. But otherwise, there are also entrepreneurs who do these boreholes and then they sell them out, to people. So you have like water kiosk where people come to buy water from. So this is more of the experiences in the rural areas of Nigeria. Then in terms of sanitation, there is still a lot to be done also in terms of ending open defecation. There's still a lot of communities where there are no toilets, and so they practice open defecation, especially in the northern part. I think culturally there are people who did not believe that having a toilet was necessary, maybe culturally. So, but now with the awareness and everything, so I think there's been a increase in understanding on why you should have a toilet. So there is actually a lot of projects going on to get people to begin to use toilets instead of going to defecate in the open, and also that like the dangers that are that accompanies open defecation. But also I still think that the issue of promoting pit toilets it's not ideal, because for me going to toilet in a pit latrine also poses health issues, because especially for us women, it exposes us to infections because of our openings and all that. So I think having a pit toilet is not a sustainable or improved way of sanitation. So me, I am an advocate for a new concept which is called ecological toilets. The ecological toilets kind of addresses the challenge of water availability, and also having good quality improved sanitation. Like for instance, if you have ecological toilets built, you have a good it could come in a way of flush toilet, but the flush will take a little water, not as much as the normal flush toilet. And then also the ecological toilet separates the urine from the feces. So now the urine can be also used for, to improve agriculture. So it's the ecological toilet. They call it eco sanitation. Has a lot to do with the different, sanitation or different sustainable development goals we talked about. It bridges the health gap and also the agriculture, because when you separate urine, research has found that urine contains more of nutrients that can help to grow crops than the physics. So there is a lot of research going on, which I have also been, interested in, and exploring ways to also bring it down to Nigeria. To encourage people to go into research and, to convert urine to fertilizer, which rural people can use to improve agriculture. So I think that is my take on that. I don't
Okay.
know if I answered your question.
No, you didn't, I guess. Oh, well, maybe that was just a lead question. I didn't want to really get into those details at this moment, but we're going to talk about toilet sanitation now then. Rena, do you have any comments that you want to add to what she was just saying? Rena, if you're there, Rena, we can't hear you. Rena?
I think she's off.
Okay. Well, that was cool. Um, nah, well, thank you for joining us, Glory.
Yeah.
And I want to keep the show going, but Christian hasn't come back. Tim just sent me an email saying that somehow the power in headquarters got shut down.
Wow.
Um, so they're all washed up, and Rena had to leave us suddenly. I guess while you were saying that, I just I had this article that I wanted us to discuss about India's top public health challenge,
Mm.
and they're saying that now they have a program to implement toilets, but however it's a challenge to just for it to be a norm. People are just so program to to enjoy open defecation, that it's difficult, that they had to create a fine in the country of $4 per person
Hmm.
so that they can achieve their goal of reducing open defecation in the country. The article states that they previously tried to toilet program, but you know, public funded toilets in India has gone unused because people are too used to defecating openly, and many not understand its connection with the health issues that they commonly experience.
Yes.
So it's a real serious issue, and in February's conference call, we talked to some extent about the connection between gender equality and water and sanitation. I referenced that in that conference call, how there is a community of women who have access to clean water, and there's a community of women who don't. And for gender equality to really have a place in society and in culture, is going to take the women who do have access to clean water to stand up for those other women, because as you mentioned, the women who don't have access to clean water are victimized and marginalized and abused in society, whether if it's domestically or within the community. So that's one way to begin having the conversation. But if you watch, and I highly recommend members to go back and watch February's conference call on gender equality, we talk about the relationship between those two. But you definitely talked much in depth about it, and the how important it is. It goes, and it's all connected to quality education also. So you might want to comment on how this affects young girls and not wanting to go to school if they don't have basic hygiene supplies during their womanly cycle.
Yeah. Yes. This happens a lot in developing countries, and it actually affects school attendance, because when girls don't have good toilets where they will go to change their sanitary pads and all that, then they will have to stay at home for the 5 days of their menstrual cycle. Yeah, so that this is one of the problems that girls encounter. And also, if you don't have water in school, because sometimes you need to, it's actually a very difficult topic to discuss, and most times people find it very shy to discuss them, but that's the truth, because when you go to school and you don't have where to change your sanitary pad, and you don't have water to wash up, and sometimes you could get stained, and if you have good place like toilet, or you have available water, you can go to wash up yourself and clean up yourself. But where you don't have it, then you have to stay at home. So it actually affects school attendance of girls. But
Yes.
So that has a lot to do with hygiene.
Yes, I agree. And a woman's dignity. I mean, I think it goes into a woman's self-esteem, and something that men can't understand. So as in that conference call, we talked about how that issue, since it's not something that men relate to, help them to empathize with how, we discussed many of the societal factors to the lack of gender equality, because it goes beyond just whether I honor and respect a woman. Many people will tell you no one's going to respect you unless you respect yourself first, right?
Yeah.
So, that's not a scapegoat for an excuse for the abuse that women encounter. we just address the issues such as clean water and sanitation, of how that affects a woman's self-esteem, her self-respect, her identity as a woman, and how that allows her to connect and be a contributor to society and to be moving towards being a global citizen. So as you mentioned, it is a tough conversation, and hopefully in our previous conference call, we try to take away make it a conversation, because it's about our bodies ultimately. And we live in a highly sexual culture, so to talk about sanitation should not be a taboo. We're not talking about milking cows or we're not talking about we're talking about our bodies. You know what I'm saying? And something that we are so intimate with when it comes to the opposite sex, or we're so desired to, but when it comes to the most important, hygiene, that is been a taboo subject for so long, and it shouldn't.
Yeah, it shouldn't. Yeah.
And ultimately, the importance is and educating to women to knowing that it's a right to having clean water. It is not a privilege.
Yes.
And I guess that's why when I talked to Rena, and even before I decided to start hosting these conference calls, she basically was trying to explain to me about why it's such a challenge to get these small villages to just even accept the idea of a water program in their community. And I kind of was asking her, like, so where does the church stand on this? And she told me, churches are involved with her national water program, that the WASH program. So it's a UN program. So of course the churches definitely are going to fall in line, for lack of a better term for their approach on it. However, I say that that's important because there's many, I'm sure Nigeria, just as Zambia has a large Christian population.
Yes.
And those who may have took the time to done some of the studies through Jesus, and whether even if it's Moses and the people in the wilderness, just like, if there's a place of a desert now, water is a priority. And so water has always been is a subject that has been talked about intimately with God's people. And so for the church to not make that priority for the communities that they are outreaching to, a priority stating the education around water, is disappointing. Let me say that. Disappointing when these local villages have a church that they participate in, and there's a church leader, a priest, a pastor, someone in those local villages. Christianity is not something separate from those rural villages that she talks about, that doesn't embrace washing their hands. So as I said, I think it's just disappointing knowing that has not been a priority of these pastors who went into these communities. However, it's not just their responsibility alone. Young people need to be educated, and going back to these communities and rural villages after they go and get a university degree, as you are doing, and going back and educating the young people that this is not something for the elites and something just for developing countries. And now we're that's why they're so greedy, because they have clean water and sanitation. No, it's your human right to have this.
Yeah, I think also the problem of we talked about education and awareness. It's a huge one, because previously what you have is organizations coming and, okay, this community, they need toilet, they need water, then they just come to build, but they leave out the element of sensitization and the element of education. During one of my modules in school, we were told, okay, there was a project initiated by my school in India, and was it India or Bangladesh? And culturally, that the people do not have toilets on the left hand side or something. So, and the developers of this particular project came and the toilets for the communities, and it was aligned on the left hand side, which to them was a taboo, so they can't, so what I'm trying to say is, okay, at the end of the day, what these people did was they converted the toilets to store where they pack things. And when the project implementers came for evaluation, and they discovered that these toilets were not being utilized by the members of the communities. So the point there is that the project developers did not first study the culture, the institutions, and the way of life of the people. They just came, okay, these people need water and sanitation, and then, okay, let's give them water and sanitation. I think it doesn't work that way. First, you need to know the various institutions, like you talked about the church. Yeah, get the church involved, because the people go to the church, and also know what kind of belief do they have. Because, okay, for instance, in Nigeria, yeah, we have maybe like 50-50 or thereabout of Christians and Muslims. So you can't, just because, okay, it worked in a country where it's all to execute this project. No, it doesn't work like that. There are still communities that don't go to church. So then you need to know about what do they believe. Because you talked about, people not embracing toilet, but appreciating going to defecate in the open. Yes, it's there, but then you need to educate the people why they shouldn't do open defecation. The same bush you go to defecate, when rain falls, the water it washes the feces to the water body that you drink water from. So there is need for a lot of sensitization and education, maybe prior and also after the project, for people to be able to embrace this thing. But in the past, it has been, okay, let's do this project and get it done, and then you come back, okay, we've executed the project. But when you come back for evaluation, you discover that people are not using them.
Yes, it's a serious issue. There's a few more articles that I wanted to touch on. Are you aware of the water crisis in Flint, Michigan, in the United States?
I know in California, I think I've read about water scarcity in California.
Well, yes, they're experiencing a serious drought.
Yes.
But the water crisis in Flint, I don't want to. Well, basically, they had diverted the city water from one water supply, one of the giant Lake Superior. They're like one of the greatest lakes on the planet. There's these 5 lakes that's in Midwest of or the Mideast of USA, and they diverted it from one stream, from maybe the lake to a river, or from the river to the lake, and whatever this transition was, that the water supply, the new water supply, wasn't treated for lead, didn't have a lead treatment in it. So the new water supply just started attacking the infrastructure of Flint, Michigan, and the lead just has polluted their drinking supply. And without getting into all of the horrors behind that, because they it's still being given a water bill. That's the injustice behind it. Without that, though, this young 7-year-old boy had decided that he is going to decide to create a crowdfunding campaign on GoFundMe to help out the kids in his school when he found out that they wasn't washing their hands. The kids were afraid to wash their hands because they thought the water was unsafe. And Isaiah, this 7-year-old boy, realized that that wasn't okay. So him and his parents set up a fundraising campaign with a goal to help the kids of the elementary school get access to safe hand washing techniques like water sanitizers. So they tried to they did a goal of $500 and reached almost $10,000
Wow, that's nice.
in fundraising to provide, sanitation projects for elementary kids. So water and sanitation is not just a serious issue, as they say, an injustice somewhere is an injustice everywhere.
Everywhere, yeah.
We
Yeah.
are definitely dealing with that situation here in America in low income, underserved communities.
Yeah.
Also, you
I
wanted to
think
comment?
I
Yes,
yeah,
go ahead, comment on that.
yes. I think I also heard about the issue of shale gas hydraulic fracking, which also has polluted a lot of water bodies in or water groundwater in US. I can't remember exactly what cities, but I watched a video, and during one of our programs we touched on shale gas exploration in the US, and there is a video by, can I still remember the name of the guy? He's a journalist and also an environmental activist, and he did just something Josh somebody. So, and he did a video where he showed a lot of places where the water has been contaminated due to shale gas exploration in the US. So when you were talking about this particular Flint issue, so it's just occurred to me that this could also be maybe one of the reasons why there is lead in their water.
Oh, well, no, I'm aware of the fracking situation, as you said. Yeah, there's a lot of counties and towns that have a lot of their ground supply water has been polluted by fracking, even to the extent that the water is flammable. That's how
Yeah, yeah,
polluted it
yes,
is.
yeah.
That might be what you, because that went viral, that story of the flammable water that's coming out of their tap.
Yes, yeah.
But this Flint situation is just occurred last year. Began.
Mm.
They changed the water supply, and because the water wasn't treated, didn't have this lead treatment for the pipes. It
Treatment, yeah.
just started eating away at the pipes.
Wow.
And now it puts. I mean, it's such a difficult situation because people can't sell their house because it's illegal to sell a house when you have it when it has that type of infrastructure problem to it. So they can't just sell it and relocate. A lot of families are forced to live in that circumstances. And we will find out the consequences of that over the years to come of how the children have been poisoned. It's lead poisoning. Ideally, lead
Yeah,
is,
yeah,
is a poison.
yeah.
So it's a difficult situation. A lot of communities around the country and around the world are definitely sending in fresh water for people to drink, but the water filters that has been provided to the communities is not sufficient. It definitely is not sufficient, and the damage has already occurred. That's just so it's.
So and is the government doing anything about it?
Well, I haven't found the update on it. As I mentioned, the government has, the city and state has this put out giving everyone water filters, and they have transitioned back to the original water supply. But as I said, the damage has already done
Been
now to
done, yeah, yeah, yeah.
the pipes. So
Yes.
they already the pipes are eating away at is bled into the water supply. And poison the water supply already. As I said, I don't know how long it's going to take before the water is going to be considered safe again. I haven't done the research on that. That city is maybe about Flint, Michigan is about, well, at least driving, it's about 10 hours driving from New York City.
Oh.
And that's in the Midwest USA. I could just show you on the map real quick. You see these bodies of water over here?
Yeah, yeah.
So these are the Great Lakes.
Yes.
And this is Michigan here, and Flint is this spot right here.
Okay.
So it's near Detroit, that you might have heard, where cars are manufactured, American cars are manufactured. But
Yes.
these are the Great Lakes over here, and the water supply comes from one of these lakes. These are pretty huge, right?
Yes.
Somewhat. Yeah,
Yeah.
you can see them from space. That's how big they are. They're the largest lakes on the planet.
Hmm.
They call the Great Lakes.
Yeah. Okay.
I guess I want to talk about a few other articles before we go.
Okay.
We have this story about getting water from an ATM is saving lives in Nairobi. So people
Mm-hmm.
in a slum in Kenya are now going to a water ATM for their needs. The machines are controlled in central locations and that charge fees for dispensing waters. Now, before you start yelling in outrage, consider this. Everyone loves the water ATM. It's been a blessing to the community. So in the US, the threat of contaminated water has been all over the news because of the ongoing crisis in Flint. It's been a shocking revelation that people can't even rely on the water coming out of their home faucets in one of the world's most economically advanced countries. But in other parts of the world, contaminated water is just a normal part of life. In some areas, nobody even expects water to come out of a home faucet because there is no water faucets, home faucets, and nobody expects water to be free either. Around the world, 783 million people don't have access to clean water, and 2.3 billion do not have access to proper sanitation. So, in the slums of Nairobi, Kenya, people go to water cartels to pay to get their daily water and allotments. So, as you mentioned, it said there's stress because of a cholera outbreak might spread through the slums, and so they spend their money on cleaning the water, sterilizing the water. So let's see what they say about the water ATM. Of course, it would be best if every home was equipped with plumbing, but for the time being, these water vending machines are the best option. They exist because of a collaboration of the water and sewage company in Nairobi, and they have been set up connected to Nairobi's main water supply, which is adequately cleansed. Not only is the water much safe, but the ATMs wrestle power from the cartels. What is that? Is there similar type of situations um, in
In
Nigeria that you know
Nigeria.
about?
For the ATM, I haven't heard about any of such, but I think it's a good innovation. And it's like what I said, entrepreneurship for young people. This is very encouraging. What we have is we have water vendors, people who go, they go to boreholes, private boreholes, and or maybe government water boards, and then they get water, and then they had to push it in what we call wheelbarrows or something they just carriage that they push around. So in communities, so you see those water vendors in the morning. They come to your compound. They wake you up. Do you want water and all that? So it's like making water accessible to
But it's
people.
not free. They charge a fee, correct?
Yeah, it's not free. That is their
Okay.
business.
And so is there competition with
Also,
is the Nigerian government competing to sell water to the public with the private companies?
in the communities and the semi-urban areas, there is no competition because the government is not the government water system does not cover those areas. Like I used to live in the outskirts of Abuja, it's in a community close to the federal capital city, whereas those in the federal capital city are supplied with pipe-borne water from the government water agencies. But those in the rural, I wouldn't call them rural communities now because they are more like semi-urban. They are like not slums, but also not really big cities. So there is no government water facilities in those areas. So it's only private people, not particularly private companies, but individuals. When they build their private homes, they drill water, underground water, and then they can put pipes outside and outside the compound, and people can come there to buy water. So we call them water kiosk. where people go to buy, but they haven't started using this ATM format yet. And also
Okay.
then there is a lot of packaged water. We call them pure water. It's not actually pure, but because it is packaged in kind of leather, plastic bags, and it's affordable to the poor people, especially during this period when the weather is very hot. People can buy this water and drink. There is no conviction that is pure, but you just have to drink it. And then there is bottled water also, which maybe is more refined than the packaged or sachet water. So those are the kind of water supply systems we have for now.
Okay. Well, the next article we have is from Yemen, where water ravaged Yemen is harboring fog. And it says that, since the conflict broke out with Saudi Arabia, supplies have been limited to arriving in their country. So Yemen imports the water that it needs. But in addition to the obstacle of the war, Saudi Arabia has been blocking imports from reaching the countries. So the Yemeni people have to find a new way, and they have turned to fog. So they're extracting water from fog. Logically, this makes sense. But how does it work? It turns out that harvesting fog, the river in the sky, is an ancient art. Archaeologists have found evidence of circular walls built around vines or plants to collect condensation. Today, countries such as Chile, Morocco, Guatemala, and Haiti harvest fog. Yemen has experimented with this type of harvesting since 2003, but the program only took off after 2013. And the process basically involves large mesh screens that collects moisture from the fog, and one screen can collect up to 40 liters of water per day. That's great. And since the screen only costs 15, and that's enough for at least 20 people, and the screens cost $15 and easy to operate. What do you think about that? That's a cool innovation, right?
Yeah, it's a cool innovation. But then it's also like the fog thing. I think it depends on climate, and I don't know how long it lasts in a year.
Well, I guess it's location. I think countries like that have a lot of hills, as you see in that picture, in these pictures, where the fog is. That's probably an active occurrence, just like in Chile has a lot of mountains, Guatemala has a lot of mountains. Well, I don't think Morocco has a lot of mountains, but like I said, in places that need it, they're gonna try to capture water however they can.
Yeah. When you face situations, you begin to get creative on how to utilize any available resources you have around you. I think this is a good innovation for that particular location.
Because I think if this worked in every country, I think that would have been already in the ground of Nigeria in every village. Every house would have one, right?
Yeah.
You would have one right on your roof to collect all that water. But
we also have we also have our own method of collecting water, especially rainwater.
What is that?
We have the rainwater harvesting tanks. Either the one you installed just on the ground, or the one we built right on the ground, and it is cemented, and then you connect a pipe from the zinc of your home down to the it's more like a pit, but is cemented. So every season, because we have 2 seasons in a year, we have the rainy season and the dry season. So during the rainy season, we have a lot of water of rain. So within that period, you open up the connection, and then water from the rooftop of your house goes directly into that reservoir, or I think that's the right word, reservoir. Yes. So this water is collected in that tank. Yeah.
Well, yes, I'm very familiar with that.
The issue also still remains about the quality of the water. So like I think one of the articles said, the issue of low quality water or bad water is in some places are not even mentioned, because when what you have, you make use of it. You don't even think whether it is clean or not, but you just see water. Yeah, water. That is it.
Well, yes, I agree. That method you're talking about, collecting rainwater, is a traditional. I'm sure they do that everywhere around the world, to make sure that, as you mentioned, having that reservoir underneath the house to collect the water
Yeah.
and bring it up. Because yes, my heritage is Caribbean, so that's definitely I'm definitely aware of that.
Mm.
And there was this just one other last article about during the Super Bowl ad. It says Colgate Super Bowl ad is a haunting reminder of who gets water, who doesn't. It says is asking a opponent question: do you leave the water running when you brush your teeth? If you do, up to 4 gallons of water are wasted. And a lot of people take clean water and functioning toilets for granted, but many people, they're constantly sources of stress and hardship. And so Colgate's Every Drop Counts Super Bowl ad is a vital reminder of the disparities in the world. Amid all the rivalry of the Super Bowl, it acts as a simple call to action. By leaving the tap water running, you're not directly depriving someone else of water, but you are betraying a complacency that other people can't afford. Individual water consumption is negligible compared to what industries such as agriculture use. But by staying aware of how clean water impacts and perpetuates poverty around the world, you better appreciate how lucky you are to never have to worry about that. So yes, it's a real issue, and something I told Rena when I first talked to her about it is like I used to feel guilty about the running water, but it's like people in your country, in your villages and rural areas don't even care about it. So I'm not gonna feel away. But I definitely recognize that, yes, I try to be conscious not to keep the water running when I brush my teeth, or be conscious of taking a shower and just try to minimize that as much as possible, because that water is not free. So
Yeah.
definitely do not want to be wasting water. But yes, definitely we should appreciate how much inner city life has the world we live in, because so many thousands of years didn't have this right to access to running water, at least in the home. So we definitely want to be grateful for that. And it might not be the cleanest or and the purest water, but definitely it is a great blessing to have.
Yeah.
And it was good to see that that was highlighted during
The Super Bowl.
the biggest sports event in America. So I personally think they have they have an interest in making sure that people
Wastewater.
don't waste water. But no, that's a good start. It's a very good start to the conversation, to getting because as we might have talked about previous to starting the call, that getting people to wash their hands. I know we talk about that in the conference call. That I don't know. There's people who don't wash their hands when they leave the restroom. So it's like these values that we have start at home. So definitely having this message for kids to learn to be mindful of our water consumption and being responsible is very important. And yeah, do you have any thoughts on that? Any further?
Yeah, just a comment you made. Children not maybe culturally people not washing their hands after going to the toilet. I have witnessed where people don't not just wash their hands, or not just do not wash their hands, but they don't clean their anus when after going to toilet.
Oh,
Yeah, I
okay.
have
And you
watched
was there
people.
watching them do that. You watched them do it.
Yeah, because they
Why?
do that in the open. Because it's one
Oh,
is
yes,
open defecation. Yeah, so I see
yes.
them do that. So they don't even wash. That they don't clean up, and they don't wash their hands. That is more dangerous than even the issue of washing hands. But for this article, I think it's always good for us to have that at the back of our minds when we're using water, when it is available to us, that we should also know that there are people somewhere that who do not have water to use. For me, I have witnessed both sides. I
Okay.
have
Well,
witnessed
let's
not
well now
having it. Sorry.
No, so I was going to ask you, tell me about water in the Netherlands. How does it taste?
Uh, Here, Netherlands, they invest a lot in water, and mm, I think I would say the water quality is fine. It's okay. I drink water from the tap.
How does it taste?
A little bit salty, I would say, but I don't know
Okay.
if I'm just talking, saying my mind, as in what I feel when I taste the water. But I'm not speaking for anybody.
No, no, I mean that's good because
Yeah,
as you
yeah,
you know,
it's a
water
little bit.
everywhere tastes different. I don't think that's something that people pay attention to either. So
Yeah,
even though
yeah.
we have a population of people who don't have drinking water, the water
Mm,
quality, because I don't drink tap water, but anymore.
mm,
But I grew up tasting it. I thought it tasted great. But without getting into US tap water, the water in New York tastes different from the water right next door in New Jersey. They taste
mm,
totally different, and I do not like the taste of New Jersey tap water. So it just reminded me to ask, like, because I don't know what the water quality tastes like in Ghana compared to Indonesia.
mhm.
But I think it's worth when you visit somewhere to taste it, if it's safe to taste, to try it, because some places are not safe. But if you have
Yeah,
the
yeah,
opportunity to taste the water, taste it because they all taste different.
yeah. Here we drink tap water, and in terms of quality, it's fine. I don't know. I don't know. I wouldn't say much about it, but in terms of taste, like I noticed that salty kind of taste because, uh, but I wouldn't blame anybody because the Netherlands is full of salt water. So, and they try so much to to refine their water, to convert salt water to fresh water and all that. So I don't think that is much of a problem. But I drink water. I drink water from the tap, and there's no issues with that.
Okay, okay. The last question for those who are like super conscious about the state, the way of the world right now, and especially in American culture, when we start getting into the this world order that we living in currently. you know all of us are members. Many members are learning, many members are different age. Some are younger than others, some are students, some are professionals, some are this is their first introduction to these issues.
Mm,
And this was so important that we had these conversations because the other SDGs now following clean water and following gender equality goes into climate, goes into affordable energy and jobs and infrastructure, climate change, and the bigger picture now.
mm,
And so not too many members or young people, millennials, are educated to talk about these issues and aware of these issues. But there are some universal issues that we all face, that there are that the media does not cover. That's the point I'm making.
okay.
The media doesn't address these issues. Are you aware of the fluoride in the water issue? Are you aware of municipals and cities and countries putting fluoride into their water supply?
Um, I would say I have I've heard about it, but I haven't really researched much on that area.
Okay,
And yeah, I
is there
think
fluoride in the Netherlands water supply?
I haven't done that test yet.
Okay,
I
okay.
don't
Well, it's
know.
worth checking out. It's definitely worth checking out. There is a UN, one of those agencies. I don't have it on. Maybe WHO, the World Health Organization,
Mm,
has identified that there is links, and this is studies that has been going on for since the 50s about links between fluoride and the water supply.
mhm.
I'm not going to get into that conversation. Many people are skeptical about it. Many people are afraid to confront it. What I
Yeah,
would say is that in the US, where it is being done and people do not talk about it, that I don't think that most government agencies actually know who is responsible for it. I do
yeah,
think that they know about it and they know of the potential danger associated with it. but they do not know who is responsible for it. So I mean, who the World Health Organization, but as I said, that it is a real of something of concerns, just as vaccines are of concerns to many parents and mothers
Yes.
who is something worth debating, actually. But fluoride in the water is not something that has come into mainstream public debate as strongly as vaccines has.
Hmm.
Obviously, we know vaccine is important to global organizations such as the UN, but I'm not really sure what their position is on fluoride in the water. What I do know that it is not that it is there's limits to fluoride in the water in Europe. That is something that they are conscious of and is not being practiced universally like it is in the United States. So I just wanted to just close on that note for my Americans and for those who do definitely know something about the water supply and clean water and sanitation, that and just to remind the World Merit audience that this is a problem everywhere. Do not think that this is something that just a few countries in Africa or a few countries in Asia or a few countries in areas in the West are dealing with. No.
Yeah,
Clean
yeah,
water has been an issue from the beginning of civilization.
yeah.
And having right to clean and affordable, available water is a
Water.
human right. So it's
Yes,
not something
yes.
that you should be afraid to talk about because it is your right to have access to that. And I guess I'll let you say something before we conclude, but something we was talking about earlier that, when I was thinking about these kids from rural areas want to go to university, if they apply for a university, I think what's important is that people know their human rights, but also knowing that that's something that you should write in an application if you're living in a developing country, that hey,
Mm.
I live in a community where I do not have access to clean water. I need to go to university. And I'm not just going because I'm thinking about the big job and now I'm leaving my community. No, I need access. That's my human right. So I need to get that education so I can have access to that clean water. I think that those are the type of things, those human rights need to be written inside of the college application. Writing for that scholarship, they need to write that in there, that I have a right to quality education. I have a right to gender equality. I have a right to clean water.
Yes, actually what is lacking in my country. People go to school to, okay, I want to be a medical doctor, but medical doctor for what? What problem is that going to solve? So people just go. Their main objective is, okay, I want to become an engineer. I want to come out with a first class, or I want to come out with second class so that I can get a job. So people really don't have problem solving at the back of their minds before going to the before going into the university. So they just come out with just certificates, and then they enter the job search market. And in fact, before you know it, you forget about what you went to the university to read while waiting for, to get a job. And then you can also take up anything that comes your way, for as long as it can put food in your on your table. So I think there is really the education sector in my country and also in other developing countries. They need to change their orientation, and also the priorities that should be given to students. And maybe people should start writing, motivations and during application process, to say, okay, this is the reason why I want to go to school, not just because you want to go to school. You should be able to have a problem you want to solve. So I think you're right. We should all start looking at solving problems rather than just what we want to gain, after school.
Well, yes, definitely. That's important. So the last thing I want to say, I want everyone to go and look up fluoride in the water supply and see what they find. Now, I'm
Yeah.
not trying to. I'm just saying that because it's important. This is not something that should be. It should be. All of these SDGs is our way of life. These are goals that we have the goal to challenge, to achieve, and it's worth, if we're not part of the conversation, then it's going to be business as usual for these organizations, for these institutions. So World Merit Platform is creating an opportunity for us to have a voice, for us to ask the tough questions, to make these tough statements, and so that we can start to heal our communities, heal ourselves, and create a better world for our future, something that I call in 2030 Meritopia. Where we have a vision of sustainable communities, sustainable nations, and a sustainable global environment, because we're all global citizens. You have a right to visit and enjoy all the beauty that this world has to offer. And however, that mobility that many people don't face is because they do not know their human rights. So they do not have the excuse me for the analogy, but the uprightness and the backbone to stand up to their elected officials, stand up to their government agencies, and participate in democracy. You need to know your rights so that you can participate in democracy. And if so, once again, I just ask members to go look up fluoride in the water supply, because you do not want fluoride, as far as there's many who would argue that you do not want water in your water supply, because even if that country doesn't have it, when they do got it, there are people who have an interest in adding that to the water. So fluoride has known to do significant damage to the brain, just as lead can, and so many other chemicals and compounds. So it is something to be mindful. And fluoride is in U.S. drinking water. I can tell you, in tap water, it's in there. So it's something worth discussing, and I hope that the younger generation decides to explore it. There is a lot of conspiracies and controversies about it, but it is definitely worth doing research on, at least from, respected establishments, and see what their position is. And as I mentioned, there was an article that I read about a report from the WHO, the World Health Organization, and they are aware that there is links to cancer. That's as far as they are willing to publicly admit. There are links to that. There might be a possibility that it has links to some cancers, but they don't say anything more than that.
Then it calls for more research.
Yes, they need people who care about it. When the public cares to know, then they will release an updated report, and they will release. But that's how democracy works. That's how sustainable communities work. That's how we have a healthy global community of global citizens. Is be willing to ask the tough questions, because you have a right to clean water. That's the yes. So I will allow you to have any final statements to World Merit members. Is there anything that you want them to know about, or to think about, and to look forward to when they come to Merit 360?
I will just speak in the perspective of water and sanitation, which is one of the areas I'm involved in. I just want to encourage everyone to think about it, about having water and sanitation, because I know it affects every other aspect of our lives. So every person should be involved in demanding for access to water and sanitation for all. So even if you have it in your home, think about those who do not have water and sanitation. And that is my final conclusion or comment.
Well, thank you, Glory. I really appreciate it.